Hello, everyone, and welcome to the podcast. My name is Jace May.
I'm Valerie Richards.
There we go.
And I'm Cal Gonzalez.
And this is the Callboard, a name that we thought was clever. So let's see if that plays out for the rest of the time. And so just to get started off, the reason we have this podcast is to, expand on different forms of art and kind of reach out to the people of Texas and beyond if it gets that far.
Yes.
But we don't know because we're hoping for good things. Yeah,
definitely.
But yeah, we're just trying to.
We know we're just starting out right now, so things are going to be a little shaky. But
Yep.
We're here to spread the news that I know you all want to hear about all things art.
Oh yeah. So today, since it's the first podcast, we thought we should just share a little bit about ourselves with you, the audience. So, as I said before, my name's Jace May. I'm a senior here at Texas A&M-Corpus Christi. I'm a theater major with an emphasis in acting and directing. And something that's always drawn me to art, I don't know about y'all, but it's always felt like this is the best way to express yourself.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Because there's so many forms, because art is subjective and you could do anything. So that's why I personally like acting, because for me it's the easiest thing to express how I feel about, different situations, about myself, about life in general.
What got you into theater, Jace?
Okay. What got me into...
Let's preface this. Me and Jace went to the same high school.
Yeah, that's another thing. I'm from Atascocita, Texas. It's about roughly 45 minutes outside of Houston, right next to Lake Houston.
Yep.
Which
so...
is... It's a place.
It's a place.
Yeah, okay,
the
but...
suburbs of suburbs.
So what got me into theater, or I guess just acting in general, it's a silly story, but when I was a kid, you know how you have like that one TV show that you're always into and it's like your thing? Yeah, so mine was
Wizards
Power
of
Rangers.
Waverly Place?
No, mine was the Power Rangers. And so when I was a kid, I wanted to be a Power Ranger. I was so excited. I'm like, yeah, I want to do that. This is what I want to be. And then you get older, you're like, oh, they're actors. It's not it's not real. It's all filmed. So that slowly led into, well, I still got this impact from this show. I want to be hopefully that impact for other people. So that's what got me into acting. Yeah.
What about you, Cal?
So basically, the way that I got into theater was I was the band nerd
Okay.
in middle school, and one day my high school director was like, "You need to audition for my program," and I was like, "Sure." And I auditioned, got into the program, and then she was like, "Okay, so do you have any conflicts?" I was like, "Oh, I'm in band, but that's not a problem, right?" She's like,
Yes,
that's a problem.
You
cannot do both."
Yep.
And,
choose between them.
Through fate, I just chose theater. I had no prior experience before high school.
What made you choose theater when you had been doing band?
The community, I think.
Yeah.
In band, it's like, okay, you're a section, all the saxophones play the same thing, you just kind of like sit in a group of people. But with theater, it's like you have your time to shine, your moment, and it's impactful to like the audience. And
Definitely.
Yeah, and I kind of understand where you're coming from, having to choose between two things, because you may not be able to tell just by looking at me now. I used to play football in high school, and I found out like
I miss football, Jace.
No, you don't. But no, I also found out, I can't do both because auditions are now and practice is today.
That's exactly.
And when I told the coaches that what I wanted to do, they thought I was joking.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, yeah, go back out there, May. Go run
Okay,
laps.
Troy Bolton.
Yeah, basically.
Troy Bolton.
Yeah, but
We've
I can't
seen that
sing.
plot.
I have the kind of similar experience of getting into theater. My dad was a huge sports person whenever he was in high school, and he always wanted me to play sports. So I played softball growing up. I'm really tall. I'm 6 foot. So he was like, "You're perfect to play basketball and all these sports." But I was never athletic. I never wanted to do sports. And then my freshman year of high school, he was like, "Just do golf. Like, you'll love it."
Okay.
So I did golf for a year. And during that year is when I joined the theater department of the high school. And the rest is history. I said goodbye golf.
Yeah, there you go.
So, and then we all wound up here together.
Yeah, it's true. They all followed me here. Let me just say that.
It's not true.
It's not true?
It's partially true. It's
Who
a
got
little
accepted
true.
here first?
You.
Yeah. Yep. See, there it is.
Yeah. Before we forget, Cal is actually not a permanent host on this show.
Correct.
Why don't you go and explain that a little bit?
So for this podcast, I'm normally a production assistant, but we do have Jennifer Jones, who will normally be the host, and she is sick right now, so I'm filling in for her.
She has the coronavirus.
Hope she gets better.
Not really. No, she has like the flu or something.
No. She has strep.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
She's also a student teacher, so she probably got it from her children.
Like a 4-year-old.
Her and Sean, who is a host of
the Coastcast,
who was also being replaced today, both got strep, and they work in the same school.
So they definitely
you can
got
put
it from
two
their
and two
kids.
together. Definitely.
Got that to look forward to.
Yeah, I love that.
Exactly, man. That's why I don't want to be a teacher. I should not be responsible for anyone's life except for myself.
I can barely take care of myself.
I can't even take care of myself.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So let's just quickly get into kind of why we're doing this.
Yeah.
I know we already briefly mentioned bringing art to the community.
Yes.
But we, as TNUCC theater majors, we saw an opportunity to create something that this campus doesn't have.
Yeah.
A podcast for the arts, and we don't want to limit ourselves to just art, or just to theater. We want to talk about a lot of things art, whether that be music, studio art, dance, all that kind of stuff. So we're just kind of here to inform you guys of all the local news that's going on, and talk about sometimes going to be serious issues about what's going on in the theater world.
And we should also preface, we're also a current event podcast for the arts world, so if any serious things that we will talk about is usually, I don't want to say scandals, because I feel like that might not be the right word, but things that
are definitely happening and things that need to be addressed.
That are having a lot of people's attention, and maybe we can discuss it and shine a little more light on that.
I agree.
Yeah,
definitely.
I definitely think it's awesome to think a lot of people's focus are bigger Broadway shows or bigger just platforms, but to bring that kind of sense
to
into
a
Corpus
local,
Christi.
especially because Corpus has a really nice underground art scene that a lot of people are not aware of. And so we want to inform everybody about what goes on at Art Walk. If you've never heard of Art Walk, go to Art Walk. It's the first Friday of every month. Just stuff like that. We're going to tell you exactly what Art Walk is. We're going to have different segments about that. There's a really nice underground theater scene even in South Texas. And I think that people don't realize that.
No, yeah, for sure. And we'll expand on that a little bit, but for most of that stuff they'll be getting interviews on the other podcast, the Coastcast podcast. You should watch that as well. They're gonna have actual interviews with people that are in that scene, so we'll basically give you the rundown of the whole area, the situation, but they're the ones that are gonna give you more finite information, telling you exactly what it is, because you're going to hear it, basically from the horse's mouth of whoever they're interviewing of what's going on there.
Yeah, we are really lucky to be able to collaborate with not just the producers of the Callboard, but the other 2 podcast channels that we have. I think that they're all 3 a nice contrast to each other. We have the comedy podcast, and then we have our podcast, which could be a little bit more serious at times, especially when we get into hot topics about the current theater and art scene. And then Coastcast, which is interviews and getting even more details on those local news. So I think that
and for those of you at home that are wondering why we're called the Callboard, well, you see, in the theater world you're always told check the Callboard for any new information, any news, so we thought that would be a clever name to put.
Yeah, it's great.
So I think we're at the time in our podcast where we are going to plug our theater department.
Yes, that is exactly what we need to do.
Val, you want to take that away?
Sure. So we are members of Texas A&M University Corpus Christi Theater Department.
There you go.
We constantly have things going on. We are in the process of 3 shows right now. One of those shows will have gone up by the time that this is released. But
yeah, probably.
But Jace, if you want to talk about that, just to give the viewers
so
some idea
that show. It's a studio project, so it's a little bit smaller than what a main stage would be, but they still get around the same budget as one would be. So it's the same amount of production, but a little less time. But it still works out really well. And this one's called The Love of the Nightingale. It's I don't know how much I can actually say about it, because it gets kind of graphic about things. It definitely touches on topics like sexual assault and stuff like people will see things that happen, but then they won't talk about it, so then they didn't see it because they don't talk about it. And it's how things like that can be such a horrible impact, especially on the people like affected. And time period wise, takes place during like ancient Greece, so it's a period set show, but it still talks about more contemporary problems. And I think it has a really good message, like what I was just saying, with people all the time will notice things but will never actually come forward and say it, so to them it just didn't happen. Which is awful, but it's an unfortunate reality that we live in.
And it's interesting to see how like we can set a show in a period and it still like had the same amount of impact.
Completely relevant today. Exactly.
That's a lot of that's why theater's amazing, because you can take Shakespeare shows or shows written thousands of years ago and still relate them to modern day. Because theater is about is showing day-to-day life, right?
Exactly.
So it's things that can affect all of us.
And I think even with stories like this, it's kind of more of a wake-up call. It's like, why are things like this
exactly
today?
Yes, it's like, okay, how are we able to use this show from so long ago to apply it today? Like, that shouldn't be right. We should have changed.
Definitely.
But sadly,
I think that says something a lot about the professor himself that's doing it. His style is very simplistic, but it always looks beautiful and he gets the message across. And there are points in the show where like literally it's just people standing in the corners of a theater, but how he has it staged and how they are speaking, it's even something as simple as that. It's super powerful, especially with the message that they're giving out there.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Our next show that's performing this semester is The Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder.
Yes, and do we have the dates for those?
I believe it runs the 2nd through the 7th.
Of March.
Yes. The 2nd through the 7th of March. You can get tickets at the TNUCC website. Just Google Texas A&M-Corpus Christi Theater. Or you can show up night of show and get tickets, but I would suggest coming a little early.
I would definitely
just in case it sells out.
Yeah, our musicals usually are more often the ones that get sold out. And for any students here that are listening to this or watching, I don't discriminate. If you bring your $1 with you, you get a discount, right? And instead of $7, it's now $5.
It's $5, but you have to pay cash.
Yes,
for
that's
that.
the only thing.
The box office, you can come in person before the show to our box office, which is located inside the Center for the Arts on campus. Just right in there to the right.
Right next to the staircase.
The hours definitely change depending on who's working, but they're usually open mid-afternoon. And so you can come in and get tickets.
Yeah, usually what do you think, around like 12 to 2 is usually about what
12
it is.
12 to 2 is usually when they have
and then
it,
week of show, they're usually open longer than that.
Like
so
12 to 4.
Those kind of just vary in how many people they have coming in buying tickets and everything. Yeah.
So we're really excited for Gentleman's Guide.
And our other host, who unfortunately isn't here today, she's one of the leads in that show. So maybe next episode she can give us a little more information about what the story's about and whatnot, because I could sit here and try to tell you. I don't know if it's going to be accurate.
Jennifer will definitely be able to talk more about that whenever she's in here. And then our final show of the semester is Marie Antoinette.
And you're in that, aren't you, Valerie?
I am in it. So there's not I can't say a bunch about it because
y'all are in a very hush-hush.
We just started rehearsing, and the concept that we have is being kept super secret. So I can't say super much about it, but all I have to say is that it's going to be an extremely beautiful show. The story itself, if you don't know, Marie Antoinette was the Queen of France, the last queen before the French Revolution. And so the show is pretty much about her downfall.
And she's the one who has the famous words, "Let them eat cake," right?
Let them eat cake. Yep. That's right. Yes. So we're working our butts off on that right now. And that opens April 14th. Yes. Yeah. It opens April 14th and runs through the 21st. So, 22nd.
Yeah, and then other than...
20th. The 19th.
We just got confirmation.
Marie Antoinette runs through the 14th through the 19th.
Yep, we got it. Other than the main stages, we have the 40-Minute Play Festival, which is usually first week of May, end of April, around there. It's all student-directed, student-run, student-casted, I guess we can say it like that. I don't know. It's always just a really interesting thing to watch. Because, I mean, you can see
your peers.
Yeah, you see some peers. You can see some really good shows that you maybe beforehand wouldn't have expected to be cut down to 40 minutes.
One of the things that's really cool about the dance department is it's not strictly like just theater people or like artists in general. I have people that are like biology majors that are in my dance classes or inside of my like pieces, and so it's so awesome to find that people find comfort and like in that artistic way and use that as their outlet.
Yeah, even people who aren't in a liberal arts degree or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly.
I took a dance class once, my freshman year, and then I broke my toe the night before dance demo. So
why do you always hurt yourself?
Yeah. So
I wasn't
taking
able
a dance
to perform.
Class once. What?
It crossed my mind for like half a second.
Yeah.
And I realized that I basically have 2 left feet and cannot dance.
See, I also have 2 left feet, but I think taking dance is going to keep me accountable.
Yeah, definitely.
That's fair.
I loved it was Jazz 1 that I took, and I mean I loved that class. The instructor is no longer here, but she was really, really cool. And it was a good experience. Like, I'm glad that I got to put that on my resume, that I've taken at least a dance class. Even if I'm not like the biggest musical theater person, it's always good to have in your belt.
Yeah, exactly. And that's another thing that our department just kind of gives us in general. We get a lot of opportunities to get things like that in our utility belt, because I know every year, maybe every other year now, we do a stage combat class where you can get fully certified and recognized by the oh god, I'm thinking of the wrong name, by the ASDF, I believe is the correct acronyms for that, but it's basically like the national organization for fight choreographers. And like you get recognized, you get your own profile on the page, like it's all legit, and it's a class that we offer here, which is really, really cool, because the first year you take it, you have to do unarmed combat, but every year after that you can just keep taking it and just get certified more and more in different
SAFD.
weapons. Ah, I was close.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's just really cool, because this past semester a bunch of people signed up to take it, so a lot of people in our department got certified in unarmed, and a handful of us who were still here from when we took it got certified in knife combat. So like it's just really nice to have a place that's willing to give us these options and opportunities to get this stuff done,
because even like the stage combat class, obviously like they knew, okay, we can't squeeze this into a major an actual semester class, so they made it a Janimester. So it's just a few weeks before
2 weeks. It's
before
every
winter.
day for 2 weeks from like 8-9 a.m. something like that to
like 12
about 1. Yeah. So it's
definitely rigorous.
It's
but
hefty.
Like,
it's worth it. Yeah, easy. Because at the end of the class you get a certified fight master. For those of you who don't know what it is, a fight master is someone who's certified in damn near everything that you can legally be certified as far as the organization. Seriously, that's why they're called a fight master, and they'll come in, they'll watch the fight that your choreographer has taught you, and they judge if it's if it's safe, if it's believable. And the one that we specifically had, his big thing was, would I pay to watch this in a show? So like it's all different aspects, but that's the big thing. Like you get taught by someone else, and then another person will come in to watch it to make sure that, I guess it's kind of more on the instructor. They're trying to make sure what the instructor taught you was A, correct, and B, safe.
Definitely. And then apart from all of the classes that we get offered here as theater majors, we also collab a little bit with other community theaters. Like last year we collaborated with Harbor Playhouse, which is a local community theater in Corpus, to do Mamma Mia.
Again, Jennifer Jones, who's not here, was Donna in the show, so she'll tell you more about that later.
Yes. So what essentially that process was a little different than our regular main stage shows. Usually our main stage shows will
it's usually just restricted. And
then we'll perform our main stage shows for about a week. But when they did Mamma Mia at Harbor, they performed
Several
for a whole
weeks.
month.
Yeah.
Every weekend for
everyone
a month.
in that show, basically, that was their spring break. It ran during spring break and they weren't on leave. And another thing that makes it different than what we normally do is most of our main stages are usually just for the majors and minors. But for this one, since we were going to be working with the community theater, we opened it up to anyone in the community could come audition. And like it was...
so we had a few like new faces in there. It was really cool.
And a few old faces, some alumni that had graduated, but the one got to come back. So it's just really nice that we have a community that we can reach out with and work with and whatnot. And...
Yeah, there's some really good community theaters here. Harbor is one of them, and then Aurora is another one. They do Rocky Horror every October.
Year. It's always I've seen it twice now.
It's really good.
It's always so really good. It's incredible.
Yeah, they do a good job with that. But yeah, I would definitely recommend going to their websites, Aurora Playhouse and Harbor Playhouse, and see what they have going on.
Yeah, because they always got stuff.
And get involved in some local theater.
Yeah.
Because we know that the Team UCC shows aren't always accessible to everybody. Yeah. So to get involved in community theater, just to go see a show, I think is really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so.
Oh, and the Harbor does the awards that they do every year, the Sammy Awards. Yes. Yeah, and we were lucky enough that a lot of people in our department were nominated, and I think a good amount of them actually won awards. Yeah. And unless I'm mistaken, didn't Mamma Mia win for Best Ensemble?
I think they did, yeah.
Yeah. So it's just really cool, because with that, it's your peers voting, so it's nice to see basically how you feel, how everyone feels about you. Yeah. And, feel justified and whatnot. Yeah. Yeah.
The Sammys are a really good way to go and celebrate the season shows and your victories and stuff like that.
And so it's really good that they do that. The next episode, we can include a few information about that, because I know we had a few people go in there. Maybe we can get them to, give us a little laydown about what it's about, how it runs and whatnot. But yeah.
So our next thing that we want to talk about is a little bit more serious. Yeah. Because we are a new current events in theater, we have to talk about even the hard things that might not be most comfortable to talk about, but I mean, these are real things that are going on that
it's a problem
that we need to address. Yeah. And so I'm sure if you are in the theater scene at all, or in the art scene,
or just a fan of this movie in general, and you've been keeping up with it,
hearing a lot about the situation with West Side Story. So essentially, there's a cast member, Amar Ramazar. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but he has been under backfire, and the West Side Story production itself, because he's a known sexual assaulter. The most details that we know about that we can fact check and 100%, is he used to work for the New York City Ballet. So during that time, there were a lot of nude pictures of women going around that he was sending, and there was actually a dancer, Alexandra Waterbury, who filed a lawsuit alleging that one of the other dancers, Chris Finlay, had shared explicit photos and videos of her in a group chat with Amar Ramazar, and that Ramazar was actively participating in sharing the nudes and all of that stuff. And so I guess the issue is why West Side Story allowed him to come into the production, because he did get fired from the New York City Ballet because of those allegations. But he got reinstated back into the union, the American Guild of Musical Artists, and then he got cast in West Side Story a year later. So I guess the discussion that we want to have is the Me Too movement, and how that kind of
it's still in effect now,
and how that's relevant today. So essentially, West Side Story has some explaining to do. They've been under backfire as well. Yeah. And we just want to raise awareness that this happens in, especially in the arts scene. There's a lot of people that want to take advantage of other people,
which is really awful, because we're all artists, especially theater and dance as well. We, depending on the role and things like that you have to do, we make ourselves very vulnerable. Yeah, very, very vulnerable. And for the fact that someone that you want to trust is gonna do things like that, it can mess you up. Yeah. Because it can make you not trust other people, and definitely that can hinder you heavily with you and your career and everything like that. Because if one person did it, why should I trust someone else not to do it?
Something that I did find really cool, though, obviously this is not a good situation, but there was a protest against Amar's casting in West Side Story, and a lot of people showed up and showed that they were not okay with this, that this is not how the theater world should be.
No.
That we need to take things like this more seriously. It's not fair that he's gonna be able to be around all of these women and other people after doing what he's done.
Yeah.
So we know that's a little bit of a more serious topic, but I mean, this is what's happening.
No, yeah,
and
it's
right
good
now.
that people are actually taking a voice of this and not just like sweeping it under the rug, and like they're taking issue with this, and like because I feel like nowadays the people are starting to understand that we have a voice and we can speak and people are going to hear us.
Definitely.
Because it's very similar to what recently happened with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. It came to light and there's evidence and everything that she was the one abusing him.
Yes.
And since then, I know there's a petition going around to get her removed from the Aquaman movies, and it's already reached, I think, like something like 300,000 signatures, man, and it's only been open a couple days.
Well, because it's hard for people to believe women who have actually been through sexual assault any type of domestic assault when there's also women out there who are lying about it.
Yeah.
And we obviously don't know what exactly happened behind closed doors with Johnny and Amber, but we do know for sure that it was not a one-sided thing.
No.
It was not. She was very abusive towards him.
Yeah. There's a phone recording too between him and her, and she more or less admits that she did these things to him, and she was calling him like a baby and crying about it, and he should man up. Yeah. Which is awful to say.
And she said that he needs to go in front of the court because no one's going to believe a man.
Yeah.
Which is not fair. No matter what gender, you can deal with sexual assault.
You can get
abused. And that's just taking away the voice that women who have actually been abused had. So we just hope that this brings awareness to the issue.
Yeah.
Because as theater lovers ourselves, it's really sad to read about that kind of stuff.
Exactly. And like we said before, we're a current event podcast, so things like this should be discussed, and it's something that we will discuss when things like this happen.
Yes.
Because it shouldn't be ignored.
And we have a platform to talk about it.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Exactly.
So I think the last thing that we kind of wanted to do before we wrap up our episode today, so we kind of wanted to add a small music segment to talk about some of the bands that we've been listening to lately.
Yeah.
Whether they be indie small bands or bands that just like not a lot of people have heard of.
Yeah, exactly.
And so Jace, did you?
Yeah. So I can start it. Over the break, I went to a David Bowie tribute concert. And oh man, it was awesome.
Where?
It was at the NASA venue downtown. I don't have an exact address. I have to look it up every time I go there. But it's a really cool place. They have a nice outdoor area where when the weather's nicer, they can perform out there, and they have a decent inside area, and they also have a little shop like to attach. But they do this concert every year on I believe David Bowie's birthday. That would make sense. And I believe it's always the same band. They come down, and it's a specific, like this band specifically David Bowie covers, and that's what they always do. They're called the Goon Squad. They're out of San Antonio. That's really their name, the Goon Squad. They're a great band. I think if you're a David Bowie fan, you should check them out. They're great. You can find them on Instagram, and I'm sure you can probably find them on Twitter too. But no, they were awesome. Like, this is the first time I've ever experienced a concert like that. It was truly amazing, man. You could really see the love behind it because they truly love David Bowie, and they want to honor him in a way, and you can see that. And as artists, I think they definitely executed it very well.
Yeah.
But another band that I listen to that may not be super well known, I feel like they're a little bit more well known now as opposed to when I started trying to get y'all to listen to them in high school, is a band called Ballyhoo, which is they're like a reggae rock band. They also dabble in a little bit of like pop area, but they still very much stay true to the kind of band that they are. And man, I love them. There's a picture of me on my Instagram. It's one of my older ones. The first concert I ever went to, the second concert I ever went to was their concert. And I got to meet the lead singer, and he signed like my favorite CD. And if you find this picture, it's just the stupidest grin on my face because that was like the happiest moment of my life at that point, because I was so thrilled to be meeting him, because they're all super genuinely nice people. Because after their set, they were just hanging out at the bar talking to whoever wanted to come up and speak to them. Like they're not
we
they're
love
not bad people.
nice musicians.
No, yeah. So that's a band I think is really good. And we also have a friend of ours who has definitely a smaller known band up in the College Station Bryan area. The name is Skunk Money. Right now they're just on SoundCloud and whatnot.
Yes, but they're releasing an album soon that's going to be available on all streaming platforms.
Yeah, but they're really nice. They're like Texas garage rock. Yeah, I would just say give them a listen if that's something you're into. Definitely. But Valerie, you have something you want to talk about, right?
Yeah. So there's a band called Parquet Courts. Essentially, it's an American rock band. They're from New York City. They have like really interesting alternative music. The band is made up of Austin Brown, who is co-lead vocals, Sean Yeaton, which is who is on the bass, Max Savage, who plays drums, and A Savage, who is the co-lead vocals and guitar. And they just have some really good stuff. They've been making music since 2011. They released their last album in 2018. It's called Wide Awake. They have some really good alternative indie rock music on that album. Awesome. So I would totally suggest giving them a listen to. They can definitely get you in the party mood. Some good vibes.
Yeah. So we're about at our time here. So we just want to say thank you for tuning in to the first episode. We're really excited to keep doing this. Again, my name's Jace May, and you can find me on Instagram at jmanmay.
Thank you again. I'm Cal. You can find me on Instagram at Calamander.
Again, I'm Valerie Richards, and you can find me on Instagram at valerie.michelle18.
I think that's what it is. And if you're watching this on YouTube or the video platform, please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification button and whatnot. And, if you're just listening to this, show it to your friends. We got plenty of good things. We got Should We Be Doing This Comedy Podcast and our other podcast, which is the Coastcast. So, yeah. Thank you.
We hope you guys keep tuning in. So.